Okay, well, we'll do the 3, 2, 1 together, shall we?
Yeah, let's try that. I think we should record that. It's quite funny. Should we do it and then record it?
Well, I mean, where would you put it? Would you put it before the theme song or after the theme song?
We'll just practice it. We'll do a practice. We'll do a practice when I ask you about how bad I am at technology.
All right, well, let's just go. And 3, 2, 1. Were you trying to say it in unison with me or not?
Yeah.
Oh, it's weird because it's coming out after I'm saying it. Okay, so let's try. Maybe it's just the way. It's probably just the connection. Here we go. Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
Coming to you every week from Sydney and Melbourne. It's Full Disclosure, the Jono and Dorje podcast. Jono and Dorje, full disclosure in the raw. Jono and Dorje, full disclosure, no holds barred. No holds barred.
Okay, welcome to episode 4 of Full Disclosure. Jono, coming to you live from Torquay, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm here, Dorje. I'm in Torquay. G'day.
Yes. Yep. Hello. Good to say hello again. So what are you doing in Torquay?
Just checking in on Beck and Pato, sister Beck, and their gorgeous 2 and a bit year old, my nephew Lenny. And
yeah, because you're an uncle.
I'm an uncle.
Jono the uncle.
Yeah, Uncle John. He calls me Gono. It's pretty cute.
Sounds a bit like gonorrhea, though, doesn't it? Unfortunately.
Well, not. I mean, it's the beginning of. It sounds like. Yeah, I guess so. It sounds like Gonzo.
No, it sounds like gonorrhea to me, mate.
Gonzo John. Anyway, Dorje, how are you, mate? This is more importantly, you've been in you're in crisis. You're in flux. Last time I spoke to you, you were moving out of your house in Glebe. How did that go?
Yes, I have to apologise to our listeners. I did promise them a Tin Winton radio play, and that won't be happening this week because of the drastic measures going on in my day-to-day life and existence. I have moved out of, after 10 years of St Johns Road Glebe. I've been a Glebe boy. I've got the Glebe shirts. I've been a part of the Glebe talks with you, Jono, famously, and I've had to move out.
Why did you have to move out? What did you do?
I didn't do anything. The lovable owner, Emma, who's a friend of mine from Perth, she's getting the abode renovated, and it's going to take 10 years worth of renovation. Will mean 6 months it will take to get the place in decent nick.
And there's an exorcist coming in as well, isn't there?
There's no exorcist. No, there's nothing like that at all.
If those walls could talk, jeez, get out the black light.
Seems to be are you trying to insinuate the weird stuff? There was no Eyes Wide Shut party.
Yeah, all those ice parties you had, those sex parties.
Yeah, all those crazy, with the strap-ons and the meth and everything. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Full disclosure, there was lots of kick-ons there. I lived there with you, and a lot of kick-ons when I was in bed. You'd bring people back. But also there was a huge party every year, Glebe, Vivid Glebe. So, yeah, huge. It's just a party house.
Well, I wouldn't say it's just a party house. I think there's a fair bit more going on than just parties.
Just a dump that occasionally we cleaned up to have a rollicking party. No, that's not true. I don't want to devalue the 10 years you spent there. Amazing history.
A lot of auditions got put down in that particular house. I think a really great success rate of about 1 in 2,000 on average, but no, it wasn't quite that bad. But a lot of monologues, a lot of creativity in that house. A lot of music written. Not a lot of writing. Let's be honest with each other.
There was that time that you and I had a deadline, and you brought out a joint, and you said this will work, and we didn't get that. We didn't get that one.
Did I pull a joint out? Did I really do that?
You go, we need inspiration, and we smoked a joint.
We did get it done though, didn't we? We weren't the deadline. Yeah, it didn't get picked up though.
No, surprisingly. Yeah. So, but Dorje, you sound in much better spirits because when I spoke to you, it was probably about a week ago. No, probably on the weekend.
Friday.
You were I thought you were on your way to the rope shop, mate. You sounded absolutely. I said, "Do you have anyone helping you?" And you said, "Nah, no one's helping me. My friends are fucked. If you want something done, do it yourself." You were very defeatist. Did people end up stepping up?
Yes, Jono, you did point out you get by with a little help from my friends, and I did take that on board. The note, you do have to ask people for help, and a lot of people came out of the woodwork.
Dorje, people aren't just like waiting around going, I wonder what if Dorje is moving today. Yeah, you need to tell them.
They were Jono's words. I did come out with the whole, you want something done properly, you have to do it yourself. You can't trust anyone these days. People are just in it for themselves. It's every man for himself. No one cares. There's no community. What's gone wrong with the world? I went on my full Alan Jones dialogue. But yeah, I did ask, and people did come out of the woodwork. And as Andy Ryan pointed out, and as you've already pointed out, there have been many parties and kick-ons over the years. And I think people felt happy to oblige. I just kept thinking of all the things I've done for everyone else. You know, all the barbecues I put on, all the parties I put on, all the free alcohol and the, you know, the
ice field sex parties,
all the fun parties, and the fact that everyone was happy to, you know, enjoy the cream when it was flowing, but I don't know why I use the cream when it was flowing, but
you've got your mind in those parties, mate. Yes.
Enjoy the just desserts of my spoils of labour. Yet when it came to actually stepping up and doing the hard yards, they weren't around. And of course, I did draw out an analogy, Jono, when you and a couple other mates who shall remain nameless did help on some cleanups of some of the parties. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you do see there's some trusted few people that you can rely on consistently, and others who just tell you to get removalists. That was what Damien Felegas is famous for saying. Just get some removalists. Why would you need me? Just get a removalist. Which isn't bad logic. It's not bad logic, because we are adults now. And there's
you've
no
got disposable income. You've got your voiceover money.
Yeah, well, there is that. But
you like rolling your sleeves up. You probably don't. Your Buddhist kind of leanings don't like employing people to lift stuff for you.
Well, it's 10 years. It was 10 years worth of debris. I mean, I had to hire a skip bin.
I don't need to know. I don't need to know his ethnicity, mate. Just a bin.
I had to hire a bin of. It was from way out west, so it probably wasn't a skip bin. It was a multicultural bin, and I threw in a lot of multicultural objects. There was lots of things going in there. I should have thrown in that horrible cultural appropriation CD player holder. Is that yours or Chris Honnory's? The one with the African head on top of it, carved out of wood. Was that
not mine? I've pretty much got everything left of mine.
That's shocking. I feel bad about leaving it at the front.
What are some of the strangest things you found in 10 years of cleaning up?
As I mentioned to you off air, a lovable friend, Mr. Woodman, who we won't give his first name because it will give away that because he's such a drug pig, was asking about what substances I might have found around the house. There was no substances because famously Jono moved in once, and what did you find in the room, Jono, when you moved into room?
I moved in to a room where there was a former drug dealer was living in there before me, and I'm not the neatest person. I'm sure I'm not as messy as Dorje, but I was cleaning my room a little bit, and I found a bag of cocaine, just a little bag of cocaine. So from then on, it was like every time I was cleaning my room, it was an Easter egg hunt. I was completely just, what are we going to find now?
Like those pigs looking for truffles that you were talking about before. You're like a drug pig just snorting around. Like, what can I find? What can I find? And the funny thing was, and that's the other thing that the listeners probably don't know, I'm not sure if we mentioned, but my house is next door to a police station. So yes I did have a good friend who was a hopeless drug dealer. Like, you know, he was a lovely guy, but he would A, use his own product, B, give it to friends for free, C, he wasn't living the lifestyle you'd expect. You expect boats and women and fast cars. He was,
that's what they promised.
A crappy hatchback and pretty depressed watching Seinfeld most days on the couch.
How can you be depressed watching Seinfeld? If anything's going to get you in a good mood, it'd be Seinfeld.
Well, that was what he was doing to combat his depression, I guess, is what I'm saying. And he'd play a fair bit of PS4. He was into a game called I can't remember. It was like a Dungeons and Dragons-y type role-playing game. Poor guy, lovely guy, and he ended up going down. Actually, he got done and spent some time in jail. But I should keep it light. But the point is, he didn't give any of the fringe
and a big shout out to all our listeners in the bin.
Shout out to all the guys locked up.
You can't see this, but I'm doing the universal mime for solidarity with my brothers in the bin. Who did that? Which sports stars have recently done that?
Well, there's been a few. Tim Cahill famously did it with his hands crossed because his brother was in jail when he scored a goal.
I don't do it crossed. I like to do it wrist to wrist. Yeah, just like I'm in chains. Who's saying that?
You've never been to jail, mate, and you don't, and you wouldn't go well in jail.
Oh yeah, spell it, mate. Spell jail. Spell it.
Well, it's different.
Can't spell it if you haven't been there.
What? Can't you?
It's got secret spelling.
What is this?
Gaol. Jail.
That's not secret. Everyone knows that spelling. There's nothing secret about that.
No, until recently I thought it was Jail.
No, but it's spelled both ways. You know.
No. Only one way. There's only one way, mate. Once you're in there,
you would not. I'd have to beat you until you're really ugly before. I'd have to get a crowbar to your head. You would just get absolutely. You would get obliterated. Your ass would be on the ground. You'd get piled in. There'd be a line of dudes just waiting. They'd put a train on you, dude. They'd put a train on you.
Dorje. Okay, just full disclosure. Shout out to he's been on board since the beginning. Pete Braden, one of the pod's best friends. He's very anti. He works in government, and he's very anti jokes about jail. He thinks that's the next thing that will in 5 years' time, no one will be making jokes about. Oh, Dorje, that's you've gone really quiet because you respect Pete Braden's opinions.
Well, he's probably got a valid point. The problem is jail, even as a term, I think it's going to change because you look at something like the Scandinavian model for jails where they integrate them gradually. I shouldn't say them, but the criminals are slowly integrated into society to the point where they don't reoffend. They're treated with respect. So I think the issue we have is how badly we treat people in jail. When I say badly, I'm not saying we're whipping them with the cat of nine tails. I'm just saying we're not. I don't think we're taking active steps to help them stop from reoffending. I'm not saying we should put them with PlayStations and have it's not like an expensive rehab clinic. You shouldn't be able to sitting there on a holiday, but there should be active steps taken to help these people, A, not reoffend, and B, probably sort of help them curb their antisocial behaviour if they do tend in that direction.
Curb their enthusiasm for antisocial behaviour.
Yeah, actually, on that note, I'll just quickly digress with curb your enthusiasm. I was at a bar this week. I don't go to bars very often. I was at a bar this week with with my girlfriend, and this guy was one of the barflies. I love lending an ear to a barfly conversation because I just find fascinating because they consider themselves essentially philosophers. They're basically the philosophers of our
no
of our
Mortine,
now.
No Mortine for you. You keep the Mortine at home and you encourage barflies.
I do because they are. They're our Banjo Pattersons. And
they're our philosophers.
Dusties. Yeah, they are. And in Australian culture and every culture, I go to a lot of bars all around the world, and that's where I get the best philosophy on life. I wouldn't say best, but I get the most content on life. And this guy was at the bar, and he was talking about how in Scandinavia, he went in Sweden in particular. He went to get a beer. It was like 11:30, I think, and he was shocked to find he couldn't get a beer anywhere in town. All the bars were closed. And he said he used this as a term, curb your enthusiasm. He said that's why you guys are getting so much more done than we're getting done here in Australia because we have pubs on every corner, and it's too easy to grab a beer. It curbs our enthusiasm for life. And
did he say curb your enthusiasm?
Yeah, he did. He said it curbs our enthusiasm for life, and as a result, we're not getting as much done in terms of business and ingenuity and invention. Which was an interesting. He just basically said we're a bunch of pissheads, I suppose. Which is funny because he was actually drinking alcohol at the time, as he said, we're a bunch of pissheads. So it was mildly amusing.
Did you interact with him, or did you just listen to him?
No, often you'd be surprised. I can just listen sometimes. I don't have to interject with my 2 cents.
Would be surprised. What were you doing? What bar were you at?
It's one of the many bars in Glebe, and that's why it's probably a good thing I'm leaving. There's like 7 pubs in Glebe, and this is one of the pubs, and it's called the Nag's Head, which
is that a nag? What's a nag? Is that that's a sheep or something? A female sheep?
It's a horse. Nag is a horse.
Oh, nag. Okay, yeah. The horse's head. So it's like a Godfather reference.
Good question. I feel like the Glebe, I've been told, used to be a series of stables, and so I think it's in reference to the stable-like history of Glebe, which explains why there's so many rats. Apparently, there's a lot of rats and mice and cats
and snakes. There used to be a snake problem in Glebe.
Is that right? Yeah. Well, that would be linked to the mice and rats, I reckon, and that'd be the cats and snakes. Yeah, they go hand in hand, don't they?
Interesting suburb. So, Dorje, my biggest concern with the move is Tony Parker, our cat, but your cat. Full disclosure, when we lived together the first time, we've lived on 2 separate occasions together in Glebe, this cute little cat followed me home down the street. He was probably a teenager, a gelfling, and had balls on him, and big balls because he followed me in and ate in the house every night and slept on my bed. And then when I realised I had to go, I didn't have to go, I was going overseas, and Dorje's never had animals before, I realised that it wasn't fair that I'd just leave a cat with Dorje, so we brought him to the vet, and the vet said, full disclosure to us, that he doesn't have a chip, and if he's not collected within, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've gone silent. I've been warned that if I talk too long...
You've changed stories. You've changed the story.
Yeah.
Like, you said that you took it to the vet because you realised you had to go. It wasn't fair. You didn't do that. You were told we had to take it to the vet because obviously somebody's cat. You were just sleeping with some random cat for 4 or 5 nights.
Yeah.
You're very attached to it, which is nice. You love cats, and you always love cats.
But
cats. Yeah, you bang on. And you're right. It wasn't 2 weeks. Close to that, though. I think it was a week. He gave us a week to decide. And he said he gave us a deadline. You've got a week to take the cat, or it's going to the pound, were his words.
Yeah, the pound, which means death. So we took him to the vet, and then I knew I didn't have anything I wasn't even being manipulative. I was literally very sad, and I was just moping around the house. And after about a week and a half, Dorje said, "Look, let's go to the vet. I'll take Tony Parker." And it's the nicest thing you've ever done, Dorje. It really was a wonderful...
The nicest thing I've ever done was taking a cat.
Yeah, well, you saved a cat's life. And you've never, did you ever have pets growing up?
Yeah, heaps.
You can't tell the way you interact with animals, but and so Tony became your cat, and it's a beautiful friendship emerged between the two of you.
Yeah, I don't think you told me you were going. What?
Yes, I did.
No, we took the cat, and then you cried. We went to the cat cafe, and you're like, "Look into your heart, Dorje. What would Tony want?" And I was like, "Stop crying." And I said, "Okay, I'll take the cat."
Yeah.
And then like a week later, you're like, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to the States for 3 months in a week's time." It's like, what?
Nah, that's not true. I knew I was going. Otherwise, we would have kept the cat. But we had a great adventure on the way, didn't we, Dorje? We met another philosopher. Maybe because we needed a carrier.
Drug fiend.
I think
some guy pinning a lot of drugs.
I think there's a bit of that in Glebe. We took Tony, I think, in a pillowcase to the vet, and we realised that wasn't feasible to get him back. So we went to the Iraqi guy's $2 shop, which is not really a $2 shop. There's a lot of things over $2, and he.
Excuse me, sir. I'd just like to point out a minor detail. There's too many things over $2 to be a $2 shop.
Yeah, exactly. And he was like, fuck off. No, but he said this will be like $37 or something for the carrier, and we were like, that's too much. And he just staunchly looked at us, and then this drug user philosopher said, "Brougham Lane." We're like, "Excuse me, sorry." He goes, "Brougham Lane. I saw one of them boxes down on Brougham Lane."
Yeah, it did sound like a sheep. I think, and you're saying it better than he did. He actually went Bram Lane.
Took a while.
Bram Lane.
So we got out Google Maps and we went to Brougham Lane, and it wasn't there anymore. And then we had to go back to the Iraqi and paid full price.
What can I just say about Bram Lane and what he was pointing out to? He was pointing to what was a roadside refuse, or what people do put on hard rubbish in Glebe. And I found, much to my delight, I put out a whole bunch of hard rubbish in Glebe only about 3 or 4 days ago, and it has disappeared in no time. It went it was gone within a few hours. So these suburban philosophers are very adept at picking out where to grab stuff as well. And I'm only too happy for that to be the case. It's basically a relocation to a house that could use it better, but it's a fantastic service and sure beats the council pickup, I can tell you that.
What were the most valuable things you put on the side of the road?
Well, there was a picture of some women in the 80s with oil all over their bodies, and they were wearing little jumpsuits, and they're doing exercises in aerobic gear.
I never saw that. You kept that in your room. You kept that under lock and key, obviously.
No, I picked it up. I found it as roadside refuse. I found it as roadside refuse. And I thought it was pretty funny. Georgie hated it. She'd come in and say, "I want that down now." And then she even put up a picture of Gosling with hardly any clothes on. So how do you like that as a screensaver? I'm fine. I don't mind.
You would have loved that. You probably have that yourself with your penchant for Gosling paraphernalia.
They brought that up. I went to a voiceover the other day, and one of the guys was like, "Oh, Dorje." I was like, "Yeah, good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. I've heard you've been wearing a lot of Ryan Gosling gear lately."
Well, they listened to the pod. Is that our first?
No, I thought for a second it had, but it's only because I've been wearing Gosling gear to the voiceovers, and people have been commenting that this voiceover guy walking around wearing Gosling gear. I should point out, dear listeners, one thing we didn't mention in the "Who Are We" section is I don't think you should say "dear listeners." I think that's a bit. Why can't I say "dear listeners"?
I think your prison jokes and your "dear listeners" they're on. No, I think we should plough ahead with the prison jokes while we can. Because Pete's ahead of the curve on that stuff, so it's like when. So
you reckon before something becomes non-PC, just slam through as much content as possible?
Like the Israeli army when they say, in 3 days' time you've got to stop bombing there, and they just and stop. So you can,
what? We
you
didn't
can
do anything.
your
What?
trains.
Didn't do anything. There's no city there. Oh, it wasn't us.
We stopped now. We're not even trying to do an Israeli accent now. Hey, we stopped. We stopped now, huh? Hey.
Well, I was just going to say that, something, we're talking about voiceovers. I am a voiceover artist. I've been voicing SBS for about 12 years, Universal Channel for about 5 or 6 years. So if I make voiceover stories or talk about them, it's because it's predominantly what I do. And you get this for free, podcasters, whereas they have to pay a lot of money.
That's why he sounds better than me. That's why he sounds better than me. And yeah.
That's not the only reason. I actually have spent a lot of money on my equipment as well. And so you've got like a backyard hatchet job sort of put together. You found on the side of the road and some earphones that you got for $20.
Found it in Brougham Lane, actually. I found the microphone and the headphones.
That's right. Speaking of microphone and headphones, why don't we go into some serious sound gear and move on to one of our beloved sections. Coming out next is Jono Burns with the infamous In the News. What's in the news today, Jono?
Extra, extra, read all about it. Me and that Playboy in trouble again. Extra, extra, read all about it. Playboy, extra.
It's Jono Burns with In the News.
Well, it's good you said infamous, Dorje, because the Harvey Weinstein stuff is constantly, there's live updates on the Harvey Weinstein news. There is outrage. So the outrage is that he's broken his 45-day sex addicts retreat. He left early. People aren't happy about that. He thinks he's cured, obviously. Rose McGowan, who you've interacted with before, she's wished him a happy birthday on Twitter in a very provocative way, and then at the end she said, "We've fucking won." So she's trolling him, which is good. But yeah, he left this retreat, 45-day sex addiction therapy retreat in Arizona. How much do you reckon, Dorje, you'd pay for 45 days of sex addiction therapy?
45 days. $45 million?
No. I mean, maybe for the sex addiction you have, but just for a normal sex addiction.
No, honestly, I'd put it around $300,000 or something.
It was $58,000.
Okay, cheap, very cheap. Yeah. So the places I stay are much more expensive than
that. At this therapy retreat, you get up at 6:30 for meditation. Then you have an organic farm-raised brekkie.
Not an orgasmic farm-raised brekkie, because otherwise that wouldn't help with the addiction.
It would not. No, it wouldn't. Very good. You can imagine fucking Weinstein getting into breakfast. Imagine how much he would eat.
Oh, yeah, watch me shower.
Oysters, cocaine. Talk about pigs. Then you have a group meeting, then an individual therapy meeting, then lectures, then you get art therapy, and then lights out at 7.
Not lectures. You wouldn't want to go. Make sure they're lectures.
Yeah, you don't want to.
You could get a lecture in lectury, couldn't you?
Well, you'd want.
I'll take the lectury 101, please.
You'd want the opposite of that, because you're not learning how to be a sex
anti-lectury.
Anti-lecturer, yes. But the big news that's come out is that he's looking to... his comeback is going to be a documentary on himself. So Harvey Weinstein's funding his own documentary.
How's he going to do it? He just announced himself bankrupt the other day. How's he going to fund it?
Yeah, good question. I mean, who's going to come to his aid? And I was trying to think, what would the title be, Dorje? Because, obviously I have a...
Free Stocko.
Yeah. I was thinking it could be called Predator.
Obviously you have a what?
What? Oh, I have a lot of DVDs.
Oh, you have a lot of DVDs. Okay.
So I've been looking through. I've got a few of them here. I've been looking through. So,
yeah, go on. What is the tagline for Predator?
Predator. Oh, I don't have it in front of me, but it would be a good one. It would be a good one.
Yeah, it'd be good. It's a shame you don't have it in front of you. It kind of ruins the idea of even bringing it up in the first place.
Well, I just went to St Vincent's because I've got an addictive personality,
right.
and as you know, my girlfriend Honeybabe's she's pretty much banned me from buying DVDs, but I went to St Vinny's after a particularly disappointing audition for a Mazda ad, and I binged. I spent $79 on DVDs at $3.25 each for each DVD. I got The People vs. Larry Flint, with the tagline is, "He's the world's most unlikely hero." Okay, Mary Antoinette. At 15, she became a bride. At 19, she became a queen. At 20, she was a legend.
Yeah, it's not bad. Could you do it? Actually, could you do the films in the style of the film?
Okay, I'll try.
Because that was an action read for Mary Antoinette. I think you want to do more about...
You're the expert. You're the expert.
No, but could you just... You can just try and be a bit more... You could do it... Because the director is Sofia Coppola. You could do it in that slightly upstate, sort of hoity-toity, hipster, read. Because that's what I imagine she would have...
How would you do that? At 15, she became a bride.
There you go.
At 19, she became a queen. At 20, she was a legend.
Yeah, that's it. See, that to me, that feels like the film. It was just a complete obnoxious.
What about this one?
Expensive. They were trying to show that she was arguing she was the Kardashian of her time, so it's that sort of read. You know
I reckon from now on you're going to have to try and guess what they are. Okay.
Okay, good. Yeah, and do it within the style of the movie.
She broke the rules and changed their lives.
G.I. Jane.
Oh, that's good. I've got that on order from JB Hi-Fi. I'm going to get G.I. Jane. I was thinking that could be a good
Aaron
review.
Brockovich.
No, you're very close. It's got Michelle Pfeiffer in it.
Dangerous Minds.
Yes, mate. Well done.
Good, but I'm not sure if that sounded like an action read again.
How would you
to
do
me.
it? She broke the rules and changed their lives. I was trying to sound warm.
She broke the rules and changed their lives.
Oh, that's why you get paid the big bucks.
So
All
it's
right.
just got a bit more warmth to it.
Okay, here we go. This is a comedy.
Because when it comes down to it, Dangerous Minds was a warm film because it's about her changing like a whole bunch. It's like what was that? The Longest Yard. What was the no? Is that the one with the massive fat blocker and Sandra Bullock and she takes him.
Blindside.
Well, Blindside. She takes. It was so condescending. She's like, "Look at the lovely white woman taking on the fat black guy from No Money and turns him into a real man." Like it was what the fuck, man.
Yeah, I liked
Anyway,
it though. I liked
you
it.
liked it?
It was a good movie.
So
I'm a sucker for
condescending.
sport and
Look, she's giving him 7 eggs. She's so nice.
It's a true story though.
Yeah, it might be.
People
a true
love
story.
true stories. Most of the taglines are true stories. It's a bit
But who's
annoying.
funding the story and why are they funding it?
Good
So
question.
obnoxious. Anyway, keep going.
He has the power to hear everything women are thinking. Finally, a man is listening.
Finally, a man is listening. Oh, it's got to be what women want. Yeah.
Yes, it's a callback. I had to get it.
Good
Dorje,
callback.
'cause you said it was such a good movie.
Did you watch it?
Oh, not yet, but maybe
gotta
that'll
watch
be
it.
the next review.
Can I just say what made Georgie watch Airheads with me last night?
Yeah.
And she did not enjoy it at all.
I've never seen it.
I think it's really funny, but she didn't like it.
Is it the one with Brendan Fraser?
Yeah, but it's got a great cast: Adam Sandler, Brendan Fraser, Steve Buscemi. Who's Kramer? What's his name again?
Michael Richards.
Michael Richards,
The problem is, and this is what I always fell for, and what Hollywood does,
Judd Nelson.
a great cast does not maketh a great movie. It's actually the writing.
It's not a great movie, but I think it's more for nostalgic sake. It's great, and also it's got that great segment where he talks about. Spoiler alert that he was a nerd in high school and used to play Dungeons and Dragons and eat his boogers, and it's
I don't think anyone's worried about you spoiling ads. Do you know a great comedy that I hadn't watched that I watched recently was Step Brothers?
yeah, that's very funny.
That's very,
funny.
very funny.
I put that in the top pantheon of shitty comedy.
So
in the last
good.
20 years.
So good. They're just running amok. Those two boys are running amok.
That's having a great time.
Having a fucking great time.
45-year-old dude's having a great time. All right, hit me up. What else you got?
Hide your bridesmaids.
Hide your oh, it's got to be the wedding crashes.
Yes, yes. And this is to show how...
Can you do it in a bit more jockey, like a little bit more like what's
You
the
do it. You do
what's the lead actor's the jock guy? What's his
Owen
name again?
Wilson.
No,
Vince
he's
Vaughn.
not a jock. The other guy, Vince Vaughn. Okay. Hide your bridesmaids.
Because we're going to fuck them.
That's what the film. That's what they're saying, right?
Good movie as well. Good movie. The best person in that movie, that was really the arrival of Bradley Cooper. That movie.
Was
He
it?
was very funny. Yeah, he plays the jock brother. He's slightly overweight, and he's like, yeah, crab cakes and football. That's how we do it in New England. He's like the menacing older brother.
Probably the closest it's been to his real personality, apparently.
Yeah.
He really is that guy, pretty much.
He was good. He was good. And just to show what a businessman Jono Burns is, I picked this DVD up for $3.25. There's a tag on it that says $39.99. Once upon a time, people were paying a cool $40, and then it said now $12.99. So that was a big, cost.
That's not the actual tagline, though. What's the tagline of the film?
No, this is the Wedding Crashers. I was still on the Wedding Crashers.
Oh, you're still talking about how much it was? That was just you're talking about how much it's gone down in price. Well, I got a bit of news for you, mate. Most DVDs have gone down heavily in price, but $40 is a lot for a DVD. Okay. Did it have a whole bunch of special features on it or something? Or why would it...
Yeah, there's special features. There's deleted scenes, behind the scene featurette.
Is it signed by Vince Vaughn or something? I mean, $40. What the hell?
That's a lot. Well, that's what you used to pay, mate.
Actually, speaking of breakouts, that
Yep.
was famously, of course, Isla Fisher's breakout role.
It was.
What's the line? I'm gonna find you. No,
She's
that
funny.
Was her, that was her
she's funny.
funny girl.
So what would
breakout.
we call the movie the Harvey Weinstein? So I was thinking
You know, I famously used to hang out with Isla Fisher back in the Perth days. I thought I had a chance of dating her at one stage. Yeah. Well, I mean, used to hang out is probably an extension. I saw her once at a cinema, and she was on the top level, and I was on the bottom level, and we locked and made eye contact, and I thought it was on. That was the extent. I had a girlfriend at the time, so I probably shouldn't have made eye contact like that. But
you're allowed to make eye contact with someone.
Yeah, I guess. Well, not according to some of your friends, but yes, yeah, you are. I think you are. But funnily enough. This is a name drop. I told Sacha Baron Cohen that story, remember? And he
Here we go. The name drops are really coming now. Dorje once saw Isla Fisher, but he did talk to Sacha Baron Cohen, and he said he was a nice guy.
He was a nice guy, and he said, I think it's a great story. He said, he's like, oh, he was lovely, so you probably did have a chance. And I was like, oh, that's very nice. And he goes, and then he said, wait, so you're from Perth as well? I said, yes. And he talked about how he dated, this is one for the listeners, if you can try and figure it out. I've never really managed to figure it out. He said he used to date a Victoria's Secret model who was from Perth.
Okay.
And he went on a date with her. It was going really well. And then she suddenly became super anti-Semitic about halfway through the date.
What do you mean, became or just was saying anti-Semitic? Yeah, as in, she wasn't converted to Semitism.
Not due to him.
Not due to him, no.
No, there you go, very good. But by the end, he realised it wasn't going to work out at all. And that was I've never managed to figure out who it was. So if anyone can, let me know if you can put it together. It would have been, I suppose, when I was chatting to Sacha...
Could be anyone in Perth. Could be the entire population of Perth.
It's true. Yes, it's true. So, Perth is quite a cultural backwater in a lot of ways.
What about what could we call this movie? Come on, let's.
Which one?
Well, the Harvey Weinstein movie.
Oh, the Harvey Weinstein movie. Going back to what we're actually going to call it.
Predator. I think it could be called Predator. Oh, the real Predator.
If it bleeds, he will kill it. Maybe something like that.
What about this one? What about this? Coming soon. Now. Ah.
That's not bad. But what about if you made a period joke? If it bleeds, he will try to.
But he's not into periods.
No, but the point is he only goes for females, right? That's my point. If it bleeds, because that's the if it bleeds, we can kill it. That's the Predator tagline, isn't it? Like that's the
What about a touching story that's gross?
No, it's not very good. It's terrible. Wait, here I found one. Oh, soon the hunt will begin. That's the actual tag for Predator.
Cool. Soon the hunt will begin. Yeah. What about another title? Remember that movie Wild Hogs?
Yes.
Could just call it Wild Hog.
Not bad. Singular. Yeah.
And just have a picture of him on a motorbike.
Just what about just Pig Man?
Fuck pig.
That would work. Fuck pig.
Fuck pig.
Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein in Fuck Pig.
Yeah.
Jono and Dorje. Full disclosure in the raw.
Review of the week. Going to Jono for his review of the week.
Well, as promised, I'm going through my DVD collection, and my DVD collection only has movies that I stand behind, or that I haven't seen before, and that I pick up for $7 at JB Hi-Fi or at the op shop. And I got Gandhi. I'd never seen it before, and I've always been interested. The tagline for that is every movie. Oh no, that's the Expendables. Every movie has a hero. This one has them all. No, his one was his triumph changed the world forever. So maybe that was a bit action as well.
No, it'd be warm. So Gandhi, his triumph changed the world forever. Something like that.
It's pretty good.
It's got to be about. It's because it's such an important. You have to have it with depth and gravitas.
Yes. Well, that's why. Yeah, that's why you're the expert on that. But it was a good movie. It was a really good movie. It's Attenborough's brother directed it. He's his own man. You might have seen him in Jurassic Park. He was in Jurassic Park, and it was hard for him to get funded. He did it for $22 million. Because it was inexpensive. It was one of the last cast of 1,000 movies. There's definitely no CGI and fill in fake the masses. They really went there with the masses, and it even feels dated for the 1980s. I felt watching it because it was kind of the same year I think that Raging Bull came out. Whereas this movie, very long shots, lots of talking heads, but the story does persevere, and the performance by a young.
Ben Kingsley.
Sir Ben Kingsley, was an unknown in movie-going terms anyway. He'd just done Hamlet on stage, but it took them a long time to cast cast him, and he's fantastic in it. He's fantastic in it. They kind of look at it at 3 stages of his life. They look at him in South Africa when he kind of takes on oppression there. Then he moves to India, and it's a long movie. I'm not going to lie. It's about 3 hours, but it did persevere, and so did Gandhi. And it's a tour de force by Sir Ben. And I felt I learnt a lot. Any questions? Did you do a bit of research yourself on it?
Yeah, I did. Do you know what Ben Kingsley's real name was? He was born with? Any idea?
No, what?
Krishna Pandit Banji.
There you go. So even though he painted his face brown, he was Indian, so that makes it all right, doesn't it, Dorje?
I don't think he didn't paint his face brown.
Yeah, he definitely did. Big time. Because you look at him, his colour, he's not as brown as that.
He's super brown.
Yeah, he browned up, mate.
No, he just
he's
went
not
in the
super
sun.
brown. You look at him in the first scene, and when he's got hair, and he doesn't look anything like that. But anyway, they looked at first. They were really going to brown face people. They were looking at Anthony Hopkins, but you know the major reason no one would do it is they couldn't lose the weight. Richard Burton was going to do it. Can you imagine Richard Burton, Alec Guinness, and then the closest they got was John Hurt, who was just coming off The Elephant Man, and he looked at Ben Kingsley's screen test and he said, give it to him.
Oh, you're right. It's 7 hours. You had a makeup session of 7 hours to get into that.
Yeah. Did you do research, or are you just going to Google away while we're talking?
No, I did look at research. Yeah, I did.
Do you know what really stood out as well is there's a cameo from Daniel Day-Lewis in this movie. There's some great actors. Yeah, he plays a racist South African, and he's just fantastic, as you can imagine. He apparently spent 1 year's research living in South Africa, beating up black people for the role, which is, just he started early and that kind of thing. Then there was also Martin Sheen, plays a journalist, and he's very similar to his performance in Apocalypse Now. He's very good at watching and listening. Have you noticed that with
yeah, he's a great
Martin
listening
Sheen?
actor. Yep.
Great listening actor. Always kind of
Similar
looks
to-
freakish.
Similar to myself that way. Great listener. Very good at just listening.
Yeah, you're good at acting
and looking
like
at
you're listening. There's no doubt about it. You're a great actor listener. Yep. You're an active acting listener. There's no doubt about that.
So it was up against E.T. that year at the Academy Awards.
Yes.
And E.T. was a lot of people's favourites to win Best Film. And Attenborough got behind E.T. He thought it was a great film, and he hoped it would win Best Picture, Best Director. When he won, the argument is Spielberg cast him in Jurassic Park to say thank you for all your support in 1982. But it's a long bow considering Jurassic Park was made in 93.
Yes.
It's a good 11 years later. But
And also, I don't think those scientific sci-fi movies really win Oscars. That's how good E.T.
very
was,
rarely.
probably.
That's true. I mean, and generally speaking, these sort of political nature films seem to, involving great historical figures. I mean, look at Churchill this year. It goes on Lincoln in the past. The films which have, dare I use that word, gravitas again, seem to generally bring home the biscuits.
But Lincoln didn't win. Argo won that year.
No, but
that's also historical.
Didn't Daniel Day win Best Actor? For
Oh, big time. Daniel Day almost won Best Actor for his 2 minutes in Gandhi. He's got a lock on the award. He's won 3, hasn't he?
He's won
3 or 4.
I think he's got In the Name of the Father, There Will Be Blood, and
he's a pig.
Oscar Pig.
He would have won for the Gangs of New York for sure.
I
Supporting
thought that was over the top. That was ridiculous. I thought he went too far. That's when he went. No, too far. He fails gloriously when I thought that was a failure personally. It was cartoonesque.
Now, Dorje, while I was doing my research on this film, there was something that really stood out to me. There's you might want to Google it now. That his follow-up film to this, or maybe not his follow-up, but a few films later, he always just wants to make historical biopics, and he made a film set in Canada with Pierce Brosnan. Now, did you see that?
Is it the one with the volcano in it?
No. He didn't know the volcano one. Can you Google? Are you doing Google?
Well, no. Why
Lonely
just tell
Bear,
me?
I think it's called. I think it's called Lonely Bear.
Is that the one with Elle Macpherson in it?
No. No, it was. I think it was the most expensive movie ever to go straight to video, because it was so bad, and it's about a native. Yeah.
It's so obscure. There's nothing on the internet about it. Yeah, go on.
Well, it's about a guy that wanted to save beavers in Canada. So
Sure he did.
Calling it the beaver
Sounds
saving
like you
me.
when you've been in the US a few times. Eh? You've been trying to save a few beavers as well.
I don't know what you're talking about there.
Oh, really? Single mums with no furniture? Doesn't ring any bells?
What's that about? What does that mean with beavers, though?
Save the beaver!
Jono and Dorje. Full disclosure. No holds barred. No holds barred.
Hey, so that's that's my review of the week. But you know what? Because it was so half done, and because you don't have a radio play this week, I thought I would but because I'm not very good at technology, I thought you could cut this together later and put the music on.
You thought I could do this? So you're volunteering me to do a project you thought of. Do you know how hard it is to do stuff? I don't think you understand. Anyway, go on. What's your genius idea, which probably involves about 45 hours of man labour? Okay, I'm
gonna just sing this a cappella, but then you can
cut it together.
Fill it, cut it together.
Sure. Okay. Just create the project essentially. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's a rainy afternoon. Partition. The big Indian storm. Gandhi, you are so fine. Beautiful, beautiful boy from the north. You burned my heart with a flickering torch. You had a dream that no one else could see. You gave them love for free, Gandhi, 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 I can't let you go. All my life you're haunting me, I loved you so. Yeah, well, it hurt me real bad when you stopped eating. I'm glad you ate again, but, I miss you. I've had a hole in my heart for so long. You stopped eating and just smiled along. Down on the street, those men are all the same. They need your love, not bread, not bread. Now you come here. Gandhi, 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 I can't let you go.
I think I get the idea. It works well. No, look, we'll cut it together there. If it was red faces, it would be done by now. So we should.
Thanks,
I'll just cut that
you're not
together.
going to put any sound. You're just going to leave me naked. I know what you're going to do.
There's numerous problems. There's no tempo, so there's no key. So how do you just? You're just going to hope that it's vaguely in the same speed and key. I'd have to.
Well, I'll prove it.
No, you don't. I'll have a look at it, mate. But I think we got the joke about halfway through the song, so there's no need to go on with the entire song.
Candy rhymes with Gandhi. Yeah, candy.
Yeah, we got that. Yeah.
No holds barred.
I've started telling people I'm a podcaster. Keeps the wolves at bay, mate.
Who have you been telling?
What do you do, mate? Oh, I'm a podcaster. Just anyone who'll listen. Bryn, the guy from the bike shop downstairs.
Oh, yeah, good.
Okay. Anyway, so I just want to tease that next week I'm going to be reviewing Soul Man, which I also picked up. And have you heard of Soul Man? It says a comedy with heart and soul, and it's the bio is Mark Watson is going to Harvard Law School on scholarship. The scholarship is for a black applicant from Los Angeles. There's a problem. ... Mark is white. Brother, is he in for an education? So I'll be reviewing Soul Man next week.
Great. So
you don't sound too enthusiastic. C. Thomas Howe and Ray from The Outsiders. He was an actor that just never really. He was the one that never really took off from The Outsiders. He was in the Brat Pack.
What's really remarkable about this film? Why are you watching it and reviewing it?
I think it's because we've never heard of it, and it's a guy doing blackface, and it's a comedy.
Oh, it's blackface?
Yeah, that's. Oh. Didn't you hear the tagline? He's pretending to be a black person.
Oh, okay. So it's like famously white chicks in reverse, essentially.
Yeah, like white chicks, but offensive.
Okay. I mean, I was watching Aladdin yesterday with George, and I found that quite offensive now.
That's animated. Because of Robin Williams.
No, it's just that, not just that. It's just the fact that like there's all these Arabic stereotypes and everyone's speaking in Broadway American accents. Like, what the? I find it bizarre as a concept. It's the way it treats Arabic society, the way it looks at the Far East, and then it doesn't make any sense. Like the parrot is like a fat African. The parrot is like a fat Italian American. There's like, or is he Jewish? I don't know. But like, everyone's just American. It doesn't make it. The chick's got an American sort of everyone. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, there's just random accents thrown into it that don't make any sense.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean,
it's real. I think it's quite offensive.
I don't get it.
And I think it just sort of trivializes and treats the Far East as like some sort of exotic playground. It plays with that the Orient idea that they had for a long time over in the States. And it's a way of diminishing and being condescending towards other cultures.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, how do they see America? I guess they like America. Some of them like America. Yeah. I guess, probably bigger fish to fry than Aladdin.
It's Full Disclosure, the Jono and Dorje podcast.
Without further ado, it's time for Jono's Full Disclosure.
Okay, well, Dorje, a lot of pressure on me this week because obviously you dropped a bombshell about your biological father wanting you to biologically father his next child with your biological stepmum, or just your stepmum who's younger than you by quite a while, and he wanted you to sire your little brother or little sister. So I really felt a lot of pressure here. I was just going to tell a throwaway story, but I think I've got to go something shameful for myself. So unfortunately, it's with a heavy heart that I have to admit that I've started looking at porn again. And as you'll know, I was off porn for, I reckon 2 years. I reckon I just quit porn, cold turkey slap. And I just stopped looking. I had a bit of a problem with it. I was looking at it too much. I mean, I'm happy talking about this sort of stuff because obviously I've done one-man shows and things like that where I talk quite a lot about porn and that sort of thing. And I just stopped looking at it on the computer. And look, to be honest, the only positive byproduct of quitting porn, apart from the self-loathing and sore wrist, was just a sense of smugness that I could tell people that I'd quit porn. I didn't feel any more kind of libido drive or anything like that, or empathy or anything like that. But I had a deadline coming up, and I've just started looking at porn, and I've been looking at it on my phone, which is pretty gross and scary that then now it can pop up on my phone at any stage. Obviously, I work at a school and at a hospital, and I'm worried that I'm going to get viruses on my phone. And I feel like someone at AA or something that slipped back into porn. And I'm looking to kick the habit. As a byproduct, I've quit alcohol for the month. I'm having a month off alcohol, but I'm looking. I don't feel good about it. So that's my full disclosure. It's not so much a fool. It's more just like kind of a gross guy that objectifies women. I'm not happy. Also, just all the research on the porn industry and just what it's doing to society. I don't want to support it. The only one I want to support is Stormy Daniels, and hopefully she takes down the president. But that's Dorje, my full disclosure for the week.
Why did you stop in the first place?
Probably to be smug. Oh, and just because I just thought I thought there would be more benefits. Really, I thought that maybe I would it'd make me a better person.
And it didn't do anything.
Didn't really do anything except that I was able to drop in a conversation. I don't look at porn. I don't do that.
So you felt superior.
Yeah, it gave me a sense of superiority. Same as when I quit alcohol. But with alcohol, it's more you also feel left out. You don't feel left out not looking at porn because, let's be honest, people don't really talk about it. How about you? Do you look at porn still?
Do I look at porn still? Yeah, I mean, I've gone through fluctuations. It's definitely something that I think the average layperson does. We're not alone, thankfully, so I don't think you have to feel like
ashamed about it. No, exactly.
No, that's right. Look, the problem I find, and this is something, it's an interesting subject matter, speaking to other friends, because you often you want to make sure your libido is, especially when you're over into your mid to late 30s and heading towards 40, you want to make sure your libido is firing on all cylinders for your partner as well. So you don't want to be selfish. But a lot of friends haven't really noticed any correspondence. They've noticed they won't do any sort of self-flagellation and still not have the highest libido. And then if they do start self-flagellating, sometimes their libido will go up. So it's quite difficult to find an accurate rhyme or reason to it. But overall, yeah, I don't think it's definitely a time killer, and it's definitely a creativity killer. I think it just generally makes you tired. I mean, look at Samson and Delilah, for example.
You're going to say, look at Sam.
We got a friend called Sam who's not perpetually tired, so that wasn't the analogy I was drawing.
Samson wasn't masturbating.
No, but he after he came, his strength was that's when she cut
his hair off.
Yeah, but didn't she have sex with him first?
I don't think so. Oh, maybe she fucked him and then cut his hair while he was asleep.
I think she had sex with him and he fell asleep and then she cut his hair. Yeah.
I never knew that there was sex involved.
How do you tire a dude up?
But I used to read it as a kid, so yeah. And then they plucked his eyes out.
Speaking of self-flagellation, I'll go into I think we should ideally... I've got so many full disclosures, but I think on the self-flagellation front,
yes,
I famously had a partner who would encourage, speaking of Samson and Delilah, encourage me to self-flagellate as she self-flagellated.
It's not. I guess because it's flogging. Is that why you say you're flogging yourself? Yep.
Yeah, in many ways.
Is that how you do it? Do you have a whip and a bucket full of lube? You're like, whipping yourself on that. Yeah, it shouldn't be done like that, Dorje. It should just be done gently.
No, I'm talking about it because, you're really flogging yourself mentally as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, it works both ways, and I think it works both ways for most people.
Talk about having a crank.
It's a double whammy.
I
think people that don't think about it probably a lot better off. They're just like, yeah, sure, I spanked the monkey. What of it? They're not bothered. But anyway, point being,
yes.
There was this partner who shall remain nameless. I was very young. It was a long time ago. One of my early girlfriends in Sydney, and she very much enjoyed. I
guess this is before I knew you.
No, it wasn't. Okay. No, it was not before you knew me. And she was she was an eastern suburbs socialite, and she quite liked the finishing our sexual escapades with us reaching crescendo with
a pipe, an ice pipe.
No, actually, funnily enough, her boyfriend before me, she said, was into that sort of thing. But basically, we'd reach crescendo of our own accord, staring at each other. And then when the relationship was over, I moved on to another partner, and I started doing that at the end. And she was disgusted. She just went, "What are you doing?" And I was like, what? And she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like,
so weird.
Isn't this what we do? And she's like, "No, you don't. That's disgusting. If you want to do that, go to the bathroom. I don't want to see that." And I was like, "Oh, damn." But it was just, I'd been trained up as such from the previous partner that I guess an intelligent human being would probably realize that one habit it's not a one-size-fits-all type of approach. But yeah, I'd just been in the use of that's what one does towards the end of one's sexual activity with your romantic consort, and unfortunately it wasn't the case, and she was really disgusted. So lesson learnt, once you do something in one person, it doesn't necessarily...
Yeah, because they're not all the same, Dorje. Not every one of your girlfriends is the same. Oh yeah, here's my girlfriend. My girlfriend likes this. They're all... that's good you've learned that at 38.
Jono and Dorje, full disclosure in the raw.
Cool. Well, Dorje, we should move on to... You've been very patient, and you've had a tough time, but luckily for you, it's probably the best time, sporting-wise, of the year, because your Trailblazers are on an absolute tear, and
yes, they are.
AFL's about to start, so you'll be watching Dockers before they implode, and you get... Let's talk about the Trailblazers, mate. I'm happy to do it.
Sure. Portland, well, did you watch the Houston-Portland game just the other day?
Yeah, it was incredible.
It was, and what was fascinating was we've got two big stars, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum.
Small-statured big stars.
Yeah, well, small, 6'3", 6'3.5". That's small in NBA terms, definitely. And and small schools, I should say. They went to small colleges, Lehigh and
both did
Weber
4
State.
years.
And they both did 4 years.
That's so cool.
So there's a lot of similarities. One massive difference, though, is Damian Lillard has hops and speed. He's very athletic. He even was in the dunk contest, whereas CJ McCollum does not have those things, which means he's limited to great handles and a mid-range game.
I love watching him, Dorje. He'd be in my top 10 players to watch in the NBA now.
He's great at catch and shoot, and he's great at mid-range, and he's got great handles, but he cannot really take it to the hole, which means he doesn't get the free throw opportunities that Lillard gets. Lillard's averaging around 8 or 9 free throws a game. McCollum's is around 2 to 3. So you can
But he's
see
so
the
much fun to
difference.
watch, Dorje. He's got moves like no one else with that.
So much fun to watch. The issue is if it's not falling and he's shut down in terms of the mid-range, he doesn't have a plan B. And Lillard's plan B, when that shut down, is to take it to the hole to draw free throws. And so McCollum can't do that. And so as a result, you end up a lot more variance between his great and his non-existent, which was, for example, his 8 points in the recent Houston game.
Oh, but also Lillard didn't play well, and you took it to the wire. Lillard was
still,
Mr. Fourth Quarter.
Still drew a couple of three-point plays, took it to the hole, and still scored 20 points with 10,
not much.
11, I think it was 12 free throws.
And he would have had
like
terrible efficiency. He was missing.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but much better than McCollum's. As I said, he's got a plan B, and that's
But
the
the good
problem.
news is, Dorje, that your two superstars didn't play well. Like, they were both well below average, because Lillard was 7 below his average, and you almost won against the best team in the league.
I think that was definitely part of the game plan. So basically, what Houston did is they said we're gonna double and shut down these two, and if they're going to beat us, everyone else is going to have to beat us. So
Amina, the chief, was that a career high for 3-pointers for him?
I think it was equaled his career high from memory.
Such a funny looking.
Yeah,
bloke.
he was right. He was shooting fantastically, and so did Harkless. Harkless played well, and so did Nurkic, and even Evan Turner came to the party. But basically, they left those guys open. They
Collins is fun to watch. I'm on the bandwagon, mate. You've won at that point you won 12 in a row.
13.
Pff, lucky
Yeah.
13, and you've got Boston tomorrow. I'll be tuning in. But
Yeah.
what's so exciting, and that was awesome commentary too. I thought
You like the players only?
I love players only, yeah, because I'm a player.
Who did you like listening to on the players only?
Without a doubt, absolutely number one is the little guy. He's so funny.
Nate Robinson.
Nate Robinson. He's so funny. He's like, step back.
He was cool.
Take it to the hole, young. What does he go? Your player.
He was really bummed that Lillard couldn't shine on the day.
He was optimistic. He was going Lillard time.
Yeah,
He's just a fan.
He's a big fan of Damian Lillard. Who isn't? I guess.
But he's just a cool guy. He's a cool guy. Fisher's a bit of a company man.
Yeah.
That other guy's funny. They loved his joke. They loved what's his name? Brent Barry. Mullet. He told a mullet joke, and they were pissing themselves.
Oh, the mullet joke. They love that. The business at the front, party at the back. And Nate Robinson
as rare as a
explained
fashionable mullet. And they're like, ugh.
as rarely seen as a mullet these days. And the argument was millennials won't know what a mullet was, which is a bit of a sad indictment on millennials.
Jono and Dorje. Full disclosure. No holds barred. No holds barred.
So looking at the standings here, Utah are in 8th right now. Portland are in 3rd. No one wants to play Utah, as I said. Minnesota are 7th. San Antonio are 6th. Okay, so they've come back strongly, San Antonio.
So that means you'd play the Spurs.
New Orleans.
And the third would play 5th.
Yeah, New Orleans are 5th at the moment. And
that's fine.
It's tight, but I back myself because, again, I have real question marks over Anthony Davis's ability to play regularly. He's
What are you talking about? He's statistically easily the 3rd best player in the league this year.
I said play regularly, so physically I don't think he'll
He
break
has
down.
this year. No, he's been
Yeah,
fine.
but that's an anomaly. And look at it, what he's done year in, year out. He never plays full seasons. He can't. He always breaks down. So I have question marks about whether he's going to be able to, because they're really running him dry. They're doing the Thibodeau.
So who are the two teams outside? Denver and who?
Denver and Clippers. But Clippers, everyone's beating Clippers easily right now. They're not in it.
No, the Clippers just beat Milwaukee yesterday.
Yeah, but we beat them easily. Oklahoma beat them easily. Everyone's beaten them easily.
Do you know who's a dickhead is Austin Rivers? He talks so much trash.
I'm not a fan of Doc Rivers either. I'm just not a fan of the whole franchise. But Pelicans, yeah, they'll be the front runners. But the big game, there's 2 big games for us coming out, which will be Oklahoma City in Oklahoma and, of course, Boston tomorrow. But yeah, Utah are the really scary team, I think, and Minnesota, unfortunately, without Jimmy Butler.
Well, he'll come back, though. He'll be back.
He'll come back, but I'm surprised Thibodeau's run his players into the ground again and they're all getting injured. So He's
They've
just
picked
a
up
bit
Derrick
of a,
Rose. They've got Gibson, Rose, and Butler. It's pretty funny. Who's he going to pick up next? Bloody John Paxson or something?
something like that. But yeah, look, I think Denver is the only team outside the 8 that everyone would be a bit scared of because they actually managed to get it together. I mean, they've got Millsap and they've got Jokic.
Denver are fun. They're fun. Yeah,
they've got a really great lineup.
Yeah.
It's just it's weird they haven't been able to put it together. You have to look at the coaching staff in relation to that. But yeah, look, I'd say we'd be happy with anyone. I think we can beat Oklahoma. I think we can beat New Orleans. I'm not worried about it. The only team I'm worried about in that bottom part of the standings is Utah, who I think are pretty incredible and really dangerous.
I'd be worried about Minnesota.
Utah
and San Antonio. I think against Popovich with Leonard.
Utah
are
9-1 in the last 10.
That's good. But I'd be worried about beating Aldridge, Leonard, and Gasol.
I'm not worried about San Antonio anymore. I don't see them as a threat. Their backcourt's too weak.
What's going to be fun? Like the first, you'll good chance to win the first round, but then unfortunately in the second round you're going to play Golden State.
We beat them in the sweep this year.
Yeah, but do you really think you'll? It
depends on their
was
injuries.
Curry playing?
Look.
Did you beat them with Curry?
Yes, yeah. Curry was playing. The big issue is they have everyone out. So right now injured. So even if they do come back by playoffs, what nick are they going to be? And that's going to be really interesting.
I think they'll be fine.
I don't know. The old dudes are really injured. They're banged up. They're banged up old dudes, and their bench isn't as deep as it was.
No, it's definitely not.
So that's the issue, and we match up really well with them. The only ones I'm really worried about are Houston. In fact, if you listen to Simmons, he recently said Portland are 101 to win the championship. He put money on them. He said that's ridiculous.
Do you really think that Golden State won't get through to the finals? Should we have a bet? Let's have a bet. I'm going to bet that Golden State wins through the West.
Oh, you think they're going to beat? You think they can beat Houston?
I think they will beat Houston. They can beat Houston, but I think they will beat Houston.
Okay. I'm happy that I think Houston will beat Golden State.
What do we have? What a bet? What's the bet?
I'll bet you $20.
$20. You're on.
20 fat ones, mate. You can take that to the bank.
Yep.
Okay. Happy to take it on.
All right. Well, and then we go to the casino. We'll go to the casino and we'll put it on. We'll put it on blackjack.
Okay. Why are we going? Why are we doubling down on gambling? What are we turning this into?
I don't know. I just feel like going to the casino.
You know, it's like which casino are we going to go to?
Masturbating again, gambling. Fuck it.
It's all falling apart, mate. And finally, before we leave, one last update on Jono is a school teacher. Does have despite when he's not masturbating and gambling, Jono's a school teacher, and he's writing a school play. Jono, what's the update on your school play? You've got to write the play. When's it got to be done by? Where are you in the process?
It was due 2 weeks ago, but Tim hasn't been doubling down on the. But it's coming together. It's coming together.
Fill our listeners in about what the premise of the play.
Okay, school camp. An alien crashes. They meet the alien. He tells them that his planet is being has been overrun and it's kind of suffering natural disasters, and so there's been a bloodless coup. So he's come to hide on Earth. They offer to give him asylum. They cross a couple of hurdles, getting the teacher at camp to let him stay, getting their parents to let him stay. But then when they take the kid to school, everything's fine. The teachers have no questions whatsoever. They're acting a bit strange. Then we find out that all the teachers are aliens as well. They try and scare the aliens out of the school, but their friend alien double crosses them and tells the aliens the aliens are afraid of cats, and so they make a giant cat. And the alien, this is the MacGuffin. This is where it falls. This is where I haven't written so well. And then they get captured, but then the alien has a crisis of conscience and releases them, and it's a happy ending. I'm struggling at the end of the second act at the moment, but I've written.
Is it based on? Did you come up with the idea from the game Alien, which we've played numerous times over the years with our friends, where you have a captain who chooses friends to go on the ship, and one of them is the alien, and they kill everyone? Did you play that?
No, I do. I play that with the kids at school.
Yes, but that's not where the idea came from.
No, I think usually it's not good to come up to base an entire story on a game like Battleship the movie. I don't think maybe I should review Battleship the movie.
Yeah,
can you quickly, Dorje? Can you Google tagline for Battleship?
The movie.
Yeah, it had Liam Neeson.
Really?
Liam Neeson. It had Rihanna. But remember that game Battleship?
Yeah, of course.
They made a fucking movie out of it.
A12. Missed.
No. Yeah, missed.
D7.
Hit. Yeah,
Hit. Yes.
It's a fun game. Yeah, we've got that at school. People play that at school. It's very concentrating.
It's quite math based as well.
Is it math based? No, it's completely fucking random.
No, because you use the graph. You have to you look across.
Yeah, it's math based.
A12.
If you make a
D7.
mistake, it's like bingo. If you make a mistake, you don't get it. It's
Yes,
basically
but you have to
bingo.
get used to understanding how a graph works because you've got the A12, B7.
Yes,
You have to start understanding.
Sure. As an adult, not that hard. It's a luck-based game.
For a kid, it's good to learn. It's good to learn. I'm not seeing anyone that you mentioned. I'm seeing Rihanna. No, you're right. Liam Neeson. You're right.
Well, they're the two I mentioned.
It made 65 million, underperformed, but 303 million worldwide.
What was the tagline?
The tagline was
Battleship. The battle for Earth begins at sea.
There you go.
You think it begins with E or B? It doesn't begin with C.
So it's got Rihanna, Brooklyn Deck, and Liam Neeson. How do they get Liam Neeson to do a film based on the game?
$10 million, I reckon. Probably more.
Yeah,
15
gave him a lot of money.
Apparently
Money. The answer's money.
Anthony Hopkins doesn't read scripts. If you pay him $15 million, he'll do your movie.
But what are you basing that on?
It's a fact. He just has a number. He doesn't read the script, and same with Ray Winston. I think Ray Winston's $10 million. I think I heard it Aronofsky when he cast Noah. They just add gravitas to it. That's the problem with going for cast over
who
story.
they shouldn't have cast in Noah?
Russell Crowe.
That was their first error.
Is that cultural appropriation? Because Noah was Middle Eastern.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, most of the Bible, everything from the Bible, basically that we do is. The Middle Eastern people. Okay, well, look, on that note, I look forward to getting more about the play because that's fascinating. And what's great about it is it has that great self-flagellation angle, which you love, where you're hating yourself for taking too long, yet you continue to do it and then feel worse about it. And
you're talking about the play or masturbation?
No, just your general approach to life, which is, commit to something or do something which you feel guilty about, and then go further and further into the guilt, and then hide from the guilt, which makes you feel more guilty. It's that great little double whammy. It's fantastic.
I hate it. Yeah,
it does have human elements of. It seems quite Jewish to me.
Yeah,
to be honest with you,
it's true.
Yeah. But for now, I'll leave it to you, Jono, to wrap up another week of
Full Disclosure.
We're back. Once a week we're doing this now, everyone. Coming up next week, obviously, we'll have the Tim Winton radio play that will lead into Dorje's Full Disclosure. Can he top last week? Then we'll have a review on Soul Man, which is a romantic comedy about blackface. And there'll be other stuff too, probably in the news. Maybe we'll talk about Nick Kyrgios as well. Until then, thanks very much for listening, everyone.
Yeah. Coming to you every week from Sydney and Melbourne. It's Full Disclosure. The Jono and Dorje podcast. Jono and Dorje.